Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the third part of my celibacy story. My name is Lucky, and I'm so grateful that you guys are returning back to watch part 3. If you have not watched part 1 and part 2, please check out my YouTube channel. How Celibacy Chose Me is documented in the series, so you can go back and watch that if you like. So basically, where do we leave off? We left off when I was learning more about sex and the connection to your sacral energy and your creativity and your femininity, and I noticed how much I had lacked and in those areas of my life. And I was also diagnosed with PCOS. At the time I was still with my ex-partner, and I was really understanding that, whatever issues that I was dealing with could have been like further damaged by messing with him, and our issues combined, it just made it really messy because, energy is energy and vibes is vibes and all that stuff connects. So that's where I left off. Into this video, I'll be getting into how my idea of sex evolved and the type of relationships that I attracted and how I started to focus more inward and on my mental health and everything. So yes, my idea of sex evolved tremendously, and I also was able to start claiming celibacy. Like if someone would ask, I'd be like, yo, I've been celibate for this amount of years, and we would have a conversation about it and stuff like that. And because I didn't enjoy how I felt when I had sex with the last guy. Like I just felt like it could have been more, but I didn't really put forth the effort because I really didn't like him as a person. And that's, I had to realize, like, why are you giving your time to people that you barely even like? Like, so make sure the next person that you decide to connect with, you actually like, and that you actually want to involve a connection with, because you want to make sure that your experience when it comes into me gets better. So, yeah, my idea of that started to change because not only was I was not impressed by the guys that I kept bringing into my energy. I wasn't I wasn't satisfied with how I felt either. Like I was still healing from my past relationship, and I was really anxious. And I was anxious because you never know like who's gonna hurt you, and I feel like that's for every heartbreak that you have. Like it really, you don't want to feel that shit again. Like, and healing, on top of that, healing is not linear, so at any moment you can get triggered by something. So, and that's where I was. Like I was constantly being triggered, whether it was with my friends, having conversations with them, and then boom, like I was just angry, or talking to my mom or my dad, or and then boom, I was just getting, like I was holding on to so freaking much. So I remember one day, like I was with my friend, and her husband at the time were going to therapy, and I was like, do you think I need therapy? She was like, yes girl, yes you do. So I was like, okay, whatever, let me check it out. So I end up going to therapy. And before I went, I was really nervous because I didn't know what to expect, because I was excited that I was finally getting a therapist, but I was also like very like, I don't know. But when I end up going, like she was very nice. By the time I left that session, like I felt raw. Like I felt like I felt like somebody stole something from me. And I'll never forget, she had mentioned in the session, she was just like, you're very brave for coming, but she was like, if you ever feel like, I'm not a match for you, then we can continue else. Like you can continue your journey with somebody else, because it's important that your healing is important. Just remember that. And I really felt safe when she had said that. Like that was my first experience with a therapist. Like I've always had like mentors and doing stuff like that, but mentors and coaches and stuff while you're trying to progress is different from actual. I apologize, my video cut off, so I'm hoping that it allows me to record more. But basically I was getting into like, counseling and how it differs from actually mentors and talking to friends and stuff like that. This is like professional help that I really feel like I needed around this time, because I was dealing with so much. And I I really wasn't showing myself no grace, to be honest with you. Like, I was very hard on myself when it came to me healing and getting over certain things, because like I mentioned before, when you're in this position and you're healing, you want to make sure everything is better than how you previously felt. And I knew that for me, like, I wanted to be on top of the world. Like, when my ex saw me again, like, I was so like it was just better for me. Like, I just wanted to be a better person overall, because I did not like the person that I was in my past. So yeah, like, I started therapy and I started to get more into my feminine energy. Like, I started to do photo shoots, taking more pictures of myself. I was more consistent with posting my moon rituals, my full moon rituals, my new moon rituals. Like, I still was doing my podcast and everything, staying consistent with that. Everything was going smoothly. I built a very comfortable. I was starting to get comfortable in my space, because this is my second apartment that I had by myself. But this time it was a lot different, because I was not with my ex-partner, and it was really hard for me to take up space. And so I purposely had to put stuff around the house, like put clothes here or hang up things here. Like, spreading my energy was very important to me. Like, I was just in the process of, like, you know, like, Lucky, like, this is your space, this is your home, like, you can spread your wings, you don't have to be so stiff. So that was really important for me to do at the time, like, really just expand myself. And during that process, it really helped me want to fill up my energy with more positive things. And that's why, you know, when it came to, like, doing photo shoots and me, like, jumping into my feminine bag, like, I even cut my hair, I dyed my hair. Like, I was just trying to brighten up my life a bit, like, with color. And I even got a new job at that time, so everything was just evolving. But I would still have these periods of, like, depression and wanting to be with someone and wanting to just be given a chance to, like, love and just be given a chance at love and just feel connected to somebody. Like, I had moments where I was like, I'm a survivor. And then the next moment I'm crying because I want somebody to be there with me, because I'm lonely, or I'm having this bad thought that I can't really talk to my friends about. Like, it was just moments like that. So eventually I had to move out of my apartment, because the rent was getting crazy. And during that time, like, me and my sister were still planning on moving to each other, but we wasn't in the space mentally or physically to do that. So I had to move in with my parents. By this time, I'm like 28. And I just remember, like, yo, I need, like, moving back home in your 20s is different. Like, you really have to, I know for me, like, I really had to tune into that space, because I'm returning back to a space where, you know, this is where I learned the root of my language, my love language from. Like, and I knew it was going to be a shift for me, because, like I said, I was 28. Like, not to say that, like, 30 is, like, the done age for me, but I feel like biologically I knew that I was getting older, and I was just like, yo, like, something got to shake. So I knew that I needed that support moving forward. So I had to end up getting a new therapist, because she was, like, way across town from me. And thank God for me knowing people in the mental health field. Like, I was able to connect with a therapist that I have met offline, and has been my therapist ever since. So I'm appreciative of that. But she helped me really unpack my past situation and really allow for me to feel safe within my feelings again. Like, I was back journaling, I was back, you know, decluttering. And by this time the pandemic hit, and I just moved in with my parents, and I was just like, yo, like, there's no way that I cannot continue therapy with this type of energy. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, this is not going. So, but during that time, me sitting with myself in the pandemic, like, friendships was ending, like, and it really allowed for me to sit by myself. And really, I didn't realize how much of a burden I put on my friends back then, because I want to say a burden, because, you know, friends should be there for you regardless. And I really did have people who are there for me to talk to when I had these moments of despair. And I really did want to go out and date, but like I said, like my energy with men was just so it was very I was very disconnected. I was scared. And which is normal when you get out of a very mentally abusive relationship. It's really hard to trust. And that's where I was at that time. Like, although I was really grounded in my process, and I feel like the pandemic helped me do that even more, helped me be grounded, and allowed me to connect with cool people too. Like, I was still, the idea of dating was still scary to me, but this is when I was more open to dating. I started to get on apps around this time, but it was still heavy sexual tension. And that's when I was like, damn, like every men really do be on sex all day. Like, dang, like I'm not trying to be in that energy. Like, I'm trying to find a partner. And then that's when I feel like I started to define it more for myself, because I actually wanted a partner around that time. And I was just like, yo, like everybody's just talking about sex and I'm not really connected to sex in that way. And it was crazy. So in my mind, like, I swore up and down that, I was thinking about poly, and I was thinking about being poly because I was watching Shan Booty, and her husband, they won't suggest themselves as being poly, but they're open. Like, if one of them decided to leave one day, they'll be fine. Like, we had this experience, we're married, and we connect with other people. Like, I don't want to hold you as an energy. And I really wanted to get there emotionally, but I knew that I wasn't. So honestly, wrong. No, I didn't know that I wasn't. I wanted to be the energy, like, yo, like if I'm with this person and we decide to grow apart, then we grow apart. No, like I have a Venus and Scorpio. Ain't no way in hell. Like really, like I really have to take time to like really work on my energy and my attachments to love and all that stuff. So, but that's further down the line. But yeah, I really wanted to grow within that space. So I started to think about that more, do my research on that a little bit. And it was funny because around this time, this is where I ended up meeting a guy, and he was married, but then he said that him and his wife were practicing poly. And I was like, oh, look at God blessing me with this relationship. And I knew the red flags were there, but I didn't really listen. Like, I just was like, like, I feel like this is probably the reason why it took me so long to make this video, because I have to be honest about my experience. And I'm not really proud of myself, like, when it came to those past energies, because I feel like, although, like I kept saying, like, you're not going to get sexually involved with men because you know what they want, you know what they are, this and that. He made me feel so comfortable in it. And I really felt like I had a connection with him. And I just allowed myself to move forward. So eventually we did start sexting, and it was nice at first, but then I noticed how at times where I wanted to talk or when I wanted to express myself, like, intimately, because at the end of the day, like, this is where I learned, like, a lot of my feels come from intellect, from conversation and actually talking to get to know the person. And I remember even thinking about my whole phase again, because I'm thinking like, this is something that I have to have because I'm at this big age and I really have not experienced sex the way I wanted to experience it. So I did do my research on that. Like, shout out to Amanda Seals. Her book, Small Doses of Everyday Use, like her podcast and her book, right? So I ended up getting her book, and she talked a lot about the whole phase and how she learned how to define it for herself, and it became more pleasurable when she started to do that. And I was like, yo, that's dope. Like, maybe I should start doing the same thing. So, and this is like before I met the guy, and we were sexting, we were talking and everything. And I remember one night, like, it just went left for me. Like, I didn't like the vibes of it at all. Like, we were talking, and then we started sexting, and then he started saying some really vulgar shit to me, and I was just like, I don't like this. So I was laying there at night, and then I got a text from him, and he said something else, like, let me see this and that, and da-da-da. And I was just like, I don't like this. And I was just laying there, and I was just like, Lucky, like, what about after sex? And I just started crying my eyes out. I just started crying because I'm like, yo, like, I never had that feeling of, you know, somebody showing me love, giving me that attention after. Like, you know what I'm saying? With my ex, it was never like, oh, we're done doing this exchange of energy with each other. Now, let me replenish you by holding you. Like, even though we knew each other for a long ass time, like, he wasn't holding me at the simple fact that we was niggas. Like, that we was cool with each other. Like, it wasn't like that. And I was just like, yo, I really want that for myself. I'm like, Lucky, do you want to risk not knowing whether this person's going to give that to you or not? Or do you just want to end it? And so I end up texting. I'm like, yo, like, I can't do this. Like, I know what I want as a person and I'm not getting it here. Like, I knew that off rip. But then that energy still lingered for a little bit. And I noticed how I felt, how attracted I was to him at that time, because I knew that there was something there for me and not for him. It was really odd. Like, I was still moving in this space, and this is where I noticed, looking back, this is where I noticed how my anxiety had played a huge part within my attachment to people. Like, the energy, oh, I feel like I knew you before type of shit. Like, it was so irritating. But yeah, that happened. Please excuse me, my storage is really low, so I'm really trying to like wrap this up because my phone will keep cutting off until I deleted some more shit, but we'll see. But yes, I started to notice how I felt and how he made me feel, and not how he made me feel, but I started to notice how I felt. And I was just, that's when I had ended it, and the energy still lingered after that. And then a couple weeks, some huge news came out about him, and I was just like, yo, like, that shit's crazy. Like, I legit almost thought about connecting with this person, and this is the type of energy that I attracted, that I was going to allow in my life. And I was really sad around that time. And I think I was in therapy for like 3 months, and then my therapist went on maternity leave, but I could not wait until I could talk to her ass again to tell her what I was going through. Like, I just could not wait to unpack and make sense of everything. But then that's when during this time, this is when I really started to use like social media influences to my advantage, because I really, again, like, here we go talking about like, you talking about something, and then it end up popping up where you're not looking for it. And then I started getting into just people talking about sex energy again, and how, you know, there's a such thing as men who are aware of their sexual energy and are using it in their advantage, because they know that, you know, they try to like capture women who have these low self-esteem or these low energies, and, you know, they try to benefit from it. And just like women do this too. Like, I'm not just saying that it's just men, but they were known as like the black magicians and stuff like that. So and her name is Nicole Ray. Like, she was so raw, like, I know she's been through a lot, but she was so dope at explaining energies in that way, in a way that I was able to understand it, and how, you know, as a woman, how I contribute to that energy by allowing men to lust on me without really giving me any type of benefit for myself. Like, just allowing them to place them in a position to take from me, without feeling like I was giving myself a chance to actually connect with them, if I'm making sense. So I really realized how much I was the problem. And I'm like, yo, like, I'm the problem. Like, I keep allowing these men to say certain things to me, and I keep entertaining these stupid ass conversations when it comes to sex. And I keep promising myself that I'm not going to give my energy away like this. And I keep engaging and interacting with this energy, and it's just not cool. Like, and I even think that she recommended a book. I think it's called The Spiritual Meaning of Relationships, of Intimacy, I believe. I'll definitely tag it so you guys can see it. But I was reading the book, and it was just explaining how, you know, relationships are very spiritual, and you meet everybody for a reason. and this is how intimacy is conducted in this culture. And it was about African cultures and how like they celebrated certain relationships and how community was important when it came to marriage. And it was just a very beautiful ass book. And I was just like, wow, like this is lovely. Like I really want to go buy this. And at this time I was just like, yo, like I no longer want to be the problem. I want to be the solution. Like I want to be able to hold myself accountable when I'm feeling lustful, or noticing when I'm feeling lustful, because I was also into like energy and like, yo, like if I'm feeling this way, like what am I lacking in myself? Why do I feel like I need a partner? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why am I feeling like I need someone to hold me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why am I like questioning my emotions and learning where my connection came from? So that's really something that I began to get into. And I'm going to end it here because that's going to go into my final last part 4 video. So if you have been watching, if you watched part 1, part 2, part 3, thank you so much. I will be posting 4 soon because I know this one's going to be a little delayed. So again, thank you so much for watching, and tune in to the last final part 4 video, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much. Y'all take care. Have a great evening, great night, whenever y'all decide to watch this.